Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 4 in the Old Country Soul mini-series. A big thank you to everyone who has downloaded the new single or added it to their Spotify playlist. I really hope you're enjoying it right now. Tonight I'm going to be joined by a big inspiration of mine. Not only is she an amazing artist and an amazing mum, but she has also kicked cancer's butt. She's been recently touring around Australia on her national Bush Pubs tour, and I was delighted when she found the time to be one of my special guests in Tamworth recently. And I am of course talking about the one and only Catherine Britt. Hey Catherine, it's so nice to see you.
So nice to see you too. How are you doing in ISO?
Oh, it's been great, mate. What can I say? No, it's been a year of complete change. I was expecting it to be a year of adventure and, get married and have the honeymoon and the Nashville trips, and we're just winging it, I guess. So I don't know about you, just winging it.
It's a bit like that, isn't it, for everyone across the board? But, there's still lots of good things to focus on, like new music.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to talk about today, about the good and the positives in music. And as you know, I just put out a new single a couple of weeks ago, Old Country Soul, and it's funny how people interpret songs and they have different meanings behind them. And to me, Old Country Soul encompasses a lot of different things, but I'm curious with other artists what they think it means. So what does Old Country Soul mean to you?
Well, it means several different things, I think. Like when I think of Old Country Soul, I think of somebody who is living the country life for real, on a property, on a farm, running a property, running a farm, and they've been doing it for a long time. And, that generational sort of thing that does happen a lot out there where they pass it down through, children to grandchildren or whatever. And they all live on this one property and this one farm and maintain it over that, those years. So I think of that definitely, which is a big part of our fan base, obviously, and the people that we meet we used to meet on a daily basis, not so much right now. But they're the people we play to and we sing for. So I think of that, but I also think of my favorite artists. They've definitely got old country soul, the Mel Haggards, the Hank Williams and people like that. I think when I think of real country music and I think of the original stuff where it all came from, I think of, it being real country soul. So, it kind of takes me to two different places.
Yeah, definitely. It encompasses a lot of things. And I think it's also about us as people and our values and what we carry with us as well in our daily life. And you're probably very aware of this, bringing up 2 young boys right now, but
yes,
I think childhood is a big impression on who we become later on. So I was wondering, is there a little story you can share with us about your early years, something that touched you, or some of the values that you learned then that you still carry now?
Yeah, look, I think that's a big, really important thing, obviously, as a new mom. And I think about it on a daily basis, like the way I want to raise my children and what I want to instill in them and, the values and the sort of men I want them to be.
Yeah.
And that's also ever changing at the moment. And it's so important to me that they become really well-rounded, independent, new age men who can cook and clean and, take care of themselves and add to a relationship and, all that sort of things that I'm really passionate about, making well-rounded men, because I think, that hasn't always been a thing, obviously having all of those things instilled, because everything just is changing so quickly at the moment, which is exciting and scary and all those things. So when I was growing up, it was different again. And I grew up with 3 older brothers and, we had amazing parents. And I think the biggest thing I took away from my childhood, other than knowing that I was always loved and taken care of and safe, was that I was always encouraged to follow my heart, to follow what made me happy. And I think that's so important. It's something I really want to give my boys. I don't care if they're rich. I don't care if they're famous. I don't care if they're anything. I just care that they do something that means something to them and that they leave their own mark. If that makes them a doctor, it makes them, somebody who runs a takeaway shop. I don't know. As long as it's their passion, because they're doing what they love and it makes them happy and they're living the life exactly that they want to live. That's really what I want to pass down to them, because it's something I've been really you know, grateful that I've been able to do in my life. And I'm grateful every day that I get to do this job. So I really want them to have that same feeling in their life and be as happy as I have been able to be. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm curious, it's always a different answer but with different artists, but what made you want to become an artist, in particular a country artist as well?
I think, you know, from a young age, I was a super big attention seeker, show off. So that was always a thing. And, you know, I was always performing, I was always singing, I was always trying to get my family's attention, my friends' attention, my teachers' attention. And I think because of that, you know, I was sort of this natural born, you know, person that wanted to perform. And, you know, that's always been sort of instilled in me. So I don't know, I just had a love of music too from a really young age. I grew up, you know, watching Disney movies like a lot of young girls do and young boys do. And I started singing along to that stuff, and then discovered country music through a movie called Coal Miner's Daughter, which is a like biography film of Loretta Lynn's life.
Yeah.
And I just saw that at like 9, and I thought, oh my God, that's what I want to be. Like initially I wanted to be Little Mermaid. And then I wanted to be Dolly Parton, you know, like it was a big turnaround, but still very Disney. Like both things very Disney. But, you know, for me, it was like this sort of aspiring to be this, you know, poor hillbilly from the mountains who becomes this country music superstar, like this dream star. And it is a very Disney thing, you know, like that whole thing. And me, you know, this small girl from the coal works of Newcastle going off to be a country music singer, you know, this was like, I sort of saw myself in that. So, yeah, it was just really desirable and something that I really fell in love with the idea, and just from a young age knew that's what I was going to do. Always, never second guessed it ever.
Yeah, it's quite funny. We're quite similar in the way. If I asked my older brother, he would have said I was the annoying little sister who was tap dancing and singing around the house and watching Disney movies, and I wanted to be Baby Spice from the Spice Girls.
Totally.
And then I saw Dolly Parton and her love of bling, and then I was like, I'm into that. Oh, what's she singing about? And yeah, kind of went from there as well. But so aside from Dolly, is there particular artists that connected with you, not just musically, but resonated with your soul as well?
Yeah, I mean, Dolly is definitely a big one. Loretta Lynn was a huge one early on. And I kind of just went down that path of finding amazing women that were strong business women, who were great singer-songwriters as well and interpreters. So that took me down the whole road of like Emmylou Harris and, you know, the singer-songwriters of today that I've just really fallen in love with all the way through to like now, like Brandi Carlile and, you know, that whole style as well. So, but also the men, of course, you know, too, I felt really in love with Hank Williams from a very young age, and you know, discovered lots through going down that wormhole as well, and discovering bluegrass and discovering blues and discovering rock and roll, and, you know, so much. I was really fortunate to have a dad who was a music like freak, like just obsessed with music. So I always heard music around the house, and I'd come home and the Beach Boys would be playing, and I'd come home and Hank Williams would be playing. I'd come home and Eminem would be playing, you know, like he was always really like, if it's good music, it's good music. You don't discriminate on genre. You don't put anything in a box. The box is it good? Great, let's listen to it. Is it bad? No, thank you. So I was always like raised on good music, you know, and that's always been my thing. People always ask me, you know, to put music in a box, and I can't do it because I don't like those limitations. I think music just has to be good, you know, and then people will like it. So, you know, whoever's into that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're very blessed to be in this country, and especially right now with the low numbers we have comparatively with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But I think everyone needs a bit of feel good, you know. This is why I'm doing this. We can share stories and catch up. And I wondered how, since we can't get out and tour, how you think as artists we can still reach out to those and share our country soul and our kindness, and to those who really need it right now.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I mean, especially considering right before the pandemic, there was the epic bushfires in Australia. You know, it just doesn't feel like it has really let up for us Aussies. You know, we've just been smashed continually by these horrible events in life. And, And I could tell when I was going out on the Bush Pubs tour before, COVID hit, I could tell the impact that was having on the communities that had just been struck by so much.
Yeah.
And in each town we went into, we were raising money for the town, and the town chose what that went to, the pub, the town, whatever, chose what that went to, whether it was like a local primary school that needed a slide or, an extra bit of money or an air conditioner in a classroom, whatever.
Yeah.
Or if it went to their local, bushfire appeal or whatever. It all made a difference, and I could see the impact that was having on each town. And it's hard to do that from your home, like you can do so much when you're out there in these communities and in the bush, and I've been trying to, like you, I'm sure, think of ways to get around that. I did do the live stream shows for about 8 weeks, I think it was, all up early on, and then I've the last few weeks just been digging into finishing my album and getting that ready, because I really am hoping that I'll be heading out on tour tomorrow, actually. So we're hitting the road again with the Bush Pubs tour, and it will be limited and it will be different, of course, with COVID restrictions, but we're just got to all be smart about it and be safe, and we're still able to go and see live music as long as we're all, doing the right thing. So that's really what I'm going to try and do moving forward, is just live with COVID, I guess, How else can you do it? And then I can still bring the music to the communities and to the people. So that's my plan, and I hope it all goes through.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned some of these towns that you've met along the way. Is there a particular town you can share a story about, or a group of people that have really touched you? Because I think it's really nice to get those positive news stories and lift up our spirits about humanity, because when we turn the news, it's always so negative at the moment. So do you have a nice feel-good story about a group of people or a town that's really impacted on you?
Yeah. Actually, there's heaps of stories, because I don't know if you know this, but my husband and I have been sort of traveling in a caravan for the last 4 years, on and off. And we have met a lot of people, have been to a lot of towns, and there's so many I could mention right now. But probably off the top of my head, there's this sort of crew that we met up in far north Queensland, out west, and they kind of heard that I was coming through town and kind of organised for me to go play at this pub called the Dangi Pub, which is in Urundangi, I think it's pronounced, in Queensland. And it was just this last minute thing. I just had me and my guitar and a small PA, and I rocked up thinking I didn't know what I was going to get, really. But this little crew of people that worked on a property all put it together, this young group, and they were so lovely and big country fans. And got to the pub, and it was all set up so cute. It was they had a big truck that I got to play on, and there was just people everywhere, hundreds and hundreds of people. No one goes out to these places. It's just to have somebody come to their town and play, they're stoked, People come from hundreds of kilometers away to see it. And everyone was camping, and it was just this huge gig. I'll never forget playing 46 miles from Alice, and there was just a sea of people in front of me dancing and singing. I couldn't even hear myself singing. They were singing so loud. Wow. And I just burst into tears, because it's just changes your life. And the great thing about these gigs is you get to hang out with them afterwards. We stayed the night, we camped the night as well, and spent the next morning, they had set up breakfast, and I got to talk to all of these people about their lives and where they're from, and how far they traveled. And that's the biggest thing about country fans. They blow my mind. They really will travel, and they'll stick by you. They're like a true old lover. They'll always be there, they just follow you, through thick and thin. And it blows me away to this day, because I'm 20 years in now, or a bit more even, and I still have the same people come to my shows, and I still have the same people care, and buy my music and stream my music, and it just blows my mind. So these little towns are what really capture my heart, and what really make me realize why I'm doing this, the true meaning behind what I'm doing this for, other than my children, which are obviously a big thing now, but it really does all make sense when you get into these little towns why we do this. So it's pretty special.
Well, I know you talked about traveling in your caravan and stuff, and you haven't been doing that as much. So what have you actually been up to in ISO? Have you picked up any new hobbies? And you mentioned you could be going back out on tour. Can we get exclusive from you?
I wish I was one of those people who like went and learnt, I don't know, like saxophone or something. Like I just did not do that. I just like drank more and cooked more. And like I felt like every day I was like, oh, let's have a glass of wine, you know, like there's nothing else to do. And then next minute you're cooking this epic feast, you know, like from a Jamie Oliver cookbook, and all of a sudden you think you're a chef and you're growing veggies in the garden and all this stupid stuff, which I never get to do because we're always touring.
Yeah.
So I really embraced it. You know, I never get to spend this much time at home, and with 2 small children, it has been really nice. Even though I do take them everywhere with me, it's just that grounding, you know, experience of being in the one place for them for a long period of time. I think it's been really good for us as a family. You know, but I'm going crazy and I'm getting itchy feet now. And I know my boys have my same, you know, mentality when it comes to that. I know they love to travel, and I can see how happy it makes them to, you know, see music and be around music. And so they'll be excited to do that as well. But it has been good for us. We've kept very busy. I feel like it's really flown by in a lot of ways, you know. I was doing the lives weekly, and now I've finished my album. I've shot 2 videos. I've done photo shoots. I'm ready to go. So I announced a couple of weeks ago that my single is coming out tomorrow. So 28th of August, you can go on and stream and hear my single. The Bush Pubs tour was announced a few weeks ago too. So you can head to my website and check out all the dates for that as well, because we hit the road tomorrow in Bowen. It's our first gig. So like very busy from now on up until album comes out. So pretty excited.
And is there a date for that?
We are going to announce that soon.
Okay, stay tuned.
I'm going to keep.
I tried, everybody, but it didn't work.
Soon. You will know so much more very soon. Yes.
All right, I will hold you to that. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. It was nice to catch up. It's been ages.
It has. It's been too long, and hopefully I'll see you soon, maybe in Tamworth again. So
yes, fingers crossed for that. All right, take care and love to the family.
I will. Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye. Well, that was a lot of fun. Who knew Catherine and I grew up on opposite sides of the world, but still had so much in common growing up. She's got a brand new single coming out tomorrow called I Am a Country Song. And if you haven't already, pre-save it right now to be the first to hear it. I'm going to be back on Monday night with a new episode and a new special guest. He is a gentle giant and a laugh a minute. I'm talking about the legendary Adam Harvey, who will be joining me on Monday at 7 p.m. It's going to be fun. Tune in and we'll see you then.
I got that old country soul, that boondock swagger.